Today we're going to have some fun on the brand new Fujifilm GFX 100 II.
Yeah, so we went out to the lovely Lion's Head. We took a athlete along, Callie. She's quite well known here in Cape Town, does some ultra long distance trail running, cycling, cool stuff like that. We photographed her, we photographed the landscape, we photographed some flowers, and we're going to show you guys what this GFX 100 II is capable of.
Now, we've shot on the GFX series quite often in terms of their cameras, and there's no debate of the image quality that you get out of these cameras. It is phenomenal, it is crazy sharp. The sort of medium format sensor just gives you unbelievable detail. The biggest issue with their past models has always been speed, especially when it comes to autofocus and of course video output. And this is where this model sort of blast past all those issues and sort of like rectifies it and just sort of kicks it up a huge notch.
Yeah, and it definitely seems to be Fujifilm's focus with this model. So all of their marketing material, everything that was put out to industry and put out to any media outlet, very much focused around the speed capabilities of this camera, the frames per second, the autofocus performance, and as a close second to that, the video specs. And medium format's never really been a viable video solution or a viable speed solution. No one's ever gone out and shot a rugby game, on a medium format camera. But as you rightly said, Fuji is aiming to change that, and this very well could be the camera to do that, to make it even more accessible than what their medium format system already is. But before we get to all of that good stuff, let's first talk you guys through the body on this unit.
Now, first up on this body, I think Fuji went back to the drawing board and I kind of like simplified a lot of the things they had in their GFX range in terms of the body. Super comfortable to hold for any hand size, either being small or big. Very nice finish. And I really love all the buttons that traditionally, like Fuji, you can customize, especially these top three. And there's a couple here in the front that you can set for ISO, anything that you want, white balance, whatever, you name it, you can do it. You have your sort of flippy traditional Fuji screen that we use quite often, shooting low on the ground and funny angles here and there. And then in terms of the card slots, they've changed it, especially for the video. They've now gone to the Type B and SD card. You also have the full HDMI, which we will talk about later in terms of the video output capabilities of this model as well.
Yeah, so to my eyes, what it kind of looks like they're trying to do is to combine the GFX 100 and the GFX 100S into a single model. So it kind of takes from both of those, as you rightly said, and combines it into this new type of cameras. I don't think they're going to do two separate units like they used to in the past. So you have a slightly bigger LCD on the top, which is really nice, easy to read, very legible, and it adjusts to your quick buttons that you've assigned, which is very nice, really, really, really nice to work with. The other thing here that they've kind of taken from those two previous models is your removable EVF. So previously the one model had a fixed EVF and the other one was removable. Now you have a removable and it's been bumped up. It's a 9.5 million dot EVF. And damn, it's good. It is so good. The colors and the crispness out of it, it is incredible. Everything else is really kind of perfect. It fits in the hand well, buttons are exactly where you want them to be. They click, they turn, they press just as you want them. It's just a really solid camera. In terms of the ports, the only addition that I want to mention is you have a network port on the side here. Really handy if you are shooting tethered, you're running straight into a server, even working on set, anything like that, uploading to FTP to make editing easier, that kind of thing. Really nice integration to see. Everything else on the body, good stuff.
So let's do something a little bit different and start with the video first, as we feel like that's where a lot of the improvements are in this new model. Now, shooting with this yesterday, there was a lot of cool things that we both loved, and also our video editor, Matt. In terms of looking at the footage, it is so sharp. When you look at the 8K, the 4K, and the full HD footage that we shot, obviously this is now going to be uploaded to YouTube in 4K.
Yeah.
But when you look at the footage, it is so clear and crisp, especially the full HD. I mean, obviously it is lower quality, but it still looks really sharp, nice, buttery, smooth slow-mo. But in terms of the video capabilities here, it is definitely capable. And I love the sort of out of focus feel you get from this big sensor, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That background separation, that focus fall off that you get out of it, that makes the images look so phenomenal, really plays into video as well. And I'm not going to say that this is going to be a cinematic tool quite yet, because there's practicality in here that's kind of missing. But if you have this unit and you're going to shoot some video with it, you're not going to be disappointed. That 8K 30 is amazing. The 4K up to 60, really phenomenal. There's a 5.8K in there as well that is really excellent. The full HD, you can go all the way up to 120 on it, which you'll see looks really, really nice. No complaints about it. In terms of the recording in there, so you can do ProRes 422 10-bit internally on the unit. You can do a couple of external recording formats as well. So you can do ProRes RAW externally if you're going into an Atomos recorder. If you're going into a Blackmagic recorder, it'll do Blackmagic RAW as well, which is really, really nice. And then of course, for your log profile, you have that excellent F-Log 2, which grades so well. It is such a lovely, lovely codec to be working in. Everything else in here as well, like the stabilizer that's in there, solid. It's an excellent all-round unit.
Yeah, we were shooting all handheld, and this is 8-stop stabilization in the body. And there's no stabilization in the lens. So as you can see from the footage, it came out really nice. There's some walking shots as well. And it's really, really good.
It really is a camera that you can now take and shoot some really proper video. I'm not going to shoot a whole production on it, definitely not. But if you had to shoot a couple of minutes of video on this unit, that's good stuff.
Now, looking back at the other GFX models, another big issue for us, especially on video mode or burst mode in photography, was autofocus performance. Now, this guy has been updated with all the latest AI algorithms from Fuji, basically from XT5 to this, and it performed extremely well. I mean, our runner was either backlit or not, and she was running from quite far away with the hat on, with shades on, and it picked up the face and it kept tracking her, either being the back of her head or the front of the head. I mean, she was even running through some sort of trees and branches. And there were moments where it kind of lost it for like a split second, but it instantly grabbed her back and it actually worked very well.
Yeah, it is surprisingly fast. And when you do burst, and yes, bear in mind, this camera can't burst at 40 frames a second. It's 8 frames a second on this unit.
Files are big.
The files are big, the sensor is big, there's a lot of data running off it. So at 8 frames a second, specifically with this new 55mm f1.7 lens, which we do feel focuses a little bit faster than some of the older lenses, it locked on, it stayed locked, and the focus tracking worked really well. Yes, here and there, it seems like it went a little bit behind. And again, it's not a sports camera. And it is by far the best autofocus system in any medium format system on the market by an absolute country mile. No two ways around it.
So let's chat about stills, as this is going to be a sort of primary photography or studio stills camera. As this is giving you extremely high resolution, 102 megapixel sensor. It is a brand new 102 megapixel sensor. It is coupled with the X Processor 5, so we already spoke about all the nice speed that you're getting, including the 8 frames per second. But the blackout free frames is only at about 5.3 frames per second. Now, something we all loved when shooting with this, as we all love Fujifilm simulations, they've added an extra one. It's called the Reala Ace. I don't know if we're pronouncing that right, but it looks amazing. It's probably one of my new favorite Fujifilm simulations, to be honest. And overall, yeah, the image quality is incredible.
Yeah, not that that should be any secret, really. 102 megapixels is always going to astound. And it's something that's always blown us away whenever we've had the opportunity to test one of these new cameras. And this is no different. So Matt's going to throw some images up for you, doing sort of crazy amounts of crop. You'll be able to count eyelashes and all sorts of things really, really easily. It is phenomenal. The sharpness that you get out of it, the clarity that you get out of it. Fuji claims that the new sensor gives you better edge-to-edge sharpness. Yeah, okay, maybe. It's 102 megapixels, it's sharp. Like, there's no two ways around it. The amount of detail that this sensor captures is in a league of its own. It doesn't really matter how many megapixels you have on your 35mm full-frame mirrorless camera sensor. Megapixels is one thing, but the sheer size of this sensor really puts it into a completely different league. And it's almost impossible to explain that unique look and that level of detail that you get out of a sensor of this size. But if you look at the images we're showing you, you can kind of start to see where it comes into play. There's a certain level of separation that you see. There's a certain level of fall off. There's a clarity to it that you just cannot get on anything other than simply a bigger sensor. It is just a truly unique look. And this camera has it in absolute spades. You couple that with Fuji's ease of use, with Fuji's film simulation modes that you touched on, it becomes a shockingly easy camera to use, but they make it so fun and it's so excellent to shoot with, and you can do such cool things with it. And it's something that I almost want to tell people to go out and try and use it and go into a shop and shoot with it and feel what it's like. Even if you're never going to buy one and you're never going to use one of these things, just to know that it's out there. And there's a company like Fuji who's making something unique, something a bit different. They haven't gone full frame. They didn't seem to care about that. They went that little step further and deliver a product that doesn't have to compete with the Sonys and the Canons and the Nikons or anything like that. It stands on its own. And it's so good. So good.
Now, when we talk about medium format cameras, it's not a camera that is for everyone. And it's definitely not a camera that you would sell every day. It's definitely aimed at like the commercial photographer, someone that wants the maximum resolution out of the image, sort of like that perfect shot. And when we look at this, it is a huge upgrade and a huge leap in technology from their older models. They've added a lot of extra beefy video specs into this, so you're definitely capable of some professional video work with this. They've added a lot of extra speed to this, so if you are shooting like we were doing a runner today, perfect camera to use for that. And we love it. It's so good in every aspect. Even though it is quite an expensive camera, and it can be quite heavy, especially when you start adding the bigger lenses. But overall, phenomenal performance, and great to see Fuji pushing the limit of this sensor and sort of pushing the video capabilities of their medium format range.